The day you change how your body cleans itself and how it handles sugar could begin with something as simple as olive oil and a single day without food. Today, we are going to explore a bold claim that fasting with olive oil can dramatically increase cellular cleanup and stop insulin resistance in just one day. You will learn the science behind autophagy, how insulin resistance develops, and whether olive oil fasting really has the power to influence these processes. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of the research, what is supported by evidence, and what remains speculation. Many health videos make big statements, but here we will go deeper. We will uncover facts from scientific studies that are often overlooked. You will discover how fasting triggers pathways inside your cells that are linked to self-repair. You will also hear about the molecules in olive oil that are drawing attention in labs around the world. These are not just claims from wellness blogs. There are real studies exploring how these substances interact with metabolism and inflammation. We will separate the solid science from the hype and explain where more research is needed. As we go forward, you will learn why autophagy is considered a powerful mechanism for cellular health and aging. You will understand the role of insulin and why resistance to it is a major factor in metabolic disease. We will explain the difference between improving insulin sensitivity and completely reversing resistance, why these terms matter, and how they are measured in research. This video will also address a surprising question. Does taking olive oil during a fast support or interrupt the very processes that fasting aims to trigger? The answer is not as simple as you might expect. You will hear about lesser-known facts like how certain compounds in olive oil influence inflammation and how they might interact with nutrient-sensing pathways inside cells. We will also reveal why fasting protocols that seem similar can have very different effects depending on timing, composition of what is consumed, and individual differences in metabolism. Some studies show strong effects in animal models, while human studies are limited, and we will explain exactly what that means for you. By staying with us until the end, you will have a clear and balanced picture of the risks and benefits. You will know the difference between enthusiasm and evidence, and you will be better prepared to make informed choices about your own health practices. Instead of leaving with vague impressions, you will leave with precise science-based insight. You will understand whether the claim that one day of olive oil fasting can double autophagy and stop insulin resistance stands up to scientific scrutiny and where it falls short. This video is not about promoting a trend. It is about revealing the truth in a way that is accessible and gripping. You will hear both the exciting possibilities and the important limitations. So stay right here as we break it all down. Welcome to the channel. If you care about real health science explained in a clear and compelling way, make sure you subscribe now and join us on this journey. Your curiosity brought you here, and by the end of this video, you will be equipped with knowledge that most people do not have. Let us begin. Many health videos claim that a single day of fasting with olive oil can double autophagy and completely halt insulin resistance, and these claims often sound too good to be true. Autophagy is a natural process that occurs in the body, where cells break down damaged or dysfunctional components and recycle them into usable energy. This process is critical for maintaining healthy cellular function, supporting organ systems, and even slowing aspects of aging. When autophagy is working efficiently, the body can remove cellular debris and toxins more effectively, helping cells to function optimally. Researchers have found that fasting, calorie restriction, and certain nutrient signals can stimulate autophagy, but the degree to which it can be enhanced in just one day remains a topic of investigation. On the other hand, insulin resistance is a condition where the body's cells gradually lose their ability to respond to insulin, the hormone responsible for regulating blood sugar. Over time, this can lead to elevated blood glucose levels and is a major contributor to type 2 diabetes and other metabolic disorders. Improving insulin sensitivity is a key goal in managing metabolic health, and diet, exercise, and fasting are among the tools that can influence it. The idea that olive oil fasting could immediately reverse insulin resistance is compelling, but it involves complex biochemical pathways, including the regulation of glucose transporters, signaling proteins, and inflammatory molecules. The interaction between fasting and healthy fats like olive oil may modulate these pathways, yet the exact magnitude of effect in humans is still being studied. Autophagy and insulin resistance are closely linked through energy sensing and nutrient signaling pathways. When energy intake drops during fasting, autophagy is triggered, and this can influence how cells respond to insulin. Olive oil, rich in monounsaturated fats and bioactive compounds, may support cellular health by reducing oxidative stress and inflammation, factors that often impair insulin signaling. Some research suggests that certain compounds in olive oil could enhance the cellular machinery involved in autophagy, potentially supporting the fasting effect. However, the body's response is highly individualized, and while animal studies show promising results, human studies are limited and often show more modest effects. The combination of fasting and olive oil introduces a complex metabolic environment where fat intake provides energy without significantly raising insulin, possibly allowing some autophagy pathways to remain active while supporting cellular function. Autophagy is a fundamental process that occurs within cells when they detect low energy or stress, prompting them to break down old, damaged, or unnecessary components. This cellular recycling system allows the body to maintain efficiency, remove potentially harmful material, and generate energy from internal resources. When cells engage in autophagy, they can eliminate dysfunctional mitochondria, misfolded proteins, and other cellular debris that, if left unchecked, could contribute to aging and disease. The process is not random. It is tightly controlled by complex signaling pathways that respond to nutrient availability and energy status. Two of the main regulators of autophagy are AMPK and mTOR. AMPK acts as an energy sensor and becomes activated when cellular energy is low, signaling the cell to initiate autophagy. On the other hand, mTOR functions as a nutrient sensor and is generally active when nutrients are plentiful, inhibiting autophagy. This means that during periods of eating and high nutrient availability, autophagy is suppressed, while fasting or calorie restriction can stimulate it by altering these pathways. Fasting is one of the most well-studied triggers of autophagy, particularly in animal models, where periods of nutrient deprivation clearly activate the process. In humans, short-term fasting has been shown to influence markers associated with autophagy, but exactly how much it increases and the duration required for meaningful benefits is still under scientific investigation. Researchers continue to explore the optimal fasting lengths, types of nutrients, and individual factors that affect autophagy in humans, highlighting the complexity of this cellular maintenance system. Olive oil is widely recognized not just as a cooking ingredient, but as a source of powerful bioactive compounds that can influence health at the cellular level. Its primary component is monounsaturated fat, which is considered a heart-healthy fat capable of supporting overall metabolic function. Beyond the fats, olive oil contains a range of polyphenols and oleic acid, compounds that have drawn significant interest from researchers due to their potential effects on inflammation and cellular signaling. These substances do not just provide energy, they actively interact with pathways that regulate how the body responds to nutrients and stress. Studies in laboratories and in animal models suggest that some of these compounds can influence autophagy-related pathways. Polyphenols, for example, appear to modulate key proteins involved in cellular cleanup processes and may help maintain the efficiency of energy sensing systems. They are also believed to have anti-inflammatory properties, which can reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation that often contributes to insulin resistance. By supporting healthier insulin signaling, olive oil could theoretically help cells respond better to glucose, lowering stress on the pancreas and improving metabolic balance. While these findings are promising, it is important to note that the effects observed in cells and animals do not automatically translate to humans. Human studies are far more complex, and the doses, timing, and long-term effects are still being investigated. The interaction between fasting, olive oil consumption, and autophagy involves multiple metabolic pathways, and although olive oil's bioactive compounds show potential, the extent to which they stimulate autophagy or improve insulin sensitivity in humans remains a topic of ongoing research. While olive oil is often praised for its health benefits, large clinical reviews suggest that consuming it alone does not lead to dramatic changes in blood sugar levels or insulin function across entire populations. These studies show that while olive oil can be a beneficial part of a balanced diet, its impact on metabolic markers such as fasting, glucose, or insulin sensitivity tends to be modest when considered in isolation. The effects are more nuanced, and specific amounts or types of olive oil, particularly extra virgin olive oil, may influence certain measures more effectively than others. This highlights the importance of context, such as the overall diet, lifestyle, and genetic factors, in determining how much benefit one might gain. Animal studies, however, provide a different perspective. Research in laboratory settings demonstrates that extra virgin olive oil can improve insulin sensitivity and affect metabolic pathways at a cellular level. These effects appear to involve gene regulation, influencing proteins that control glucose uptake, inflammation, and energy metabolism. Compounds in olive oil, including polyphenols and oleic acid, seem to modulate pathways linked to insulin signaling, supporting the body's ability to process sugar efficiently. Although these findings are encouraging, it is clear that translating results from animal models to humans requires caution. The mechanisms observed in controlled studies provide insight into how olive oil may interact with metabolism, but human responses can vary widely. Factors such as diet composition, duration of olive oil intake, and individual metabolic health all play a role in determining outcomes, making the picture more complex than it appears in simplified claims about olive oil alone. Many videos claim that consuming olive oil during a single day of fasting can double autophagy, creating an appealing narrative that cellular repair can be dramatically accelerated in just 24 hours. In reality, this idea is far from established in scientific research. Human studies do not measure autophagy in ways that can confirm such precise claims, and there is no evidence showing that olive oil alone can produce this effect. Autophagy is a highly complex process that varies depending on multiple factors, including the type of cells involved, the individual's energy status, and the duration and type of fasting. It is not a uniform response that can be easily quantified with a simple multiplier. The activity of autophagy fluctuates within the body and responds to a variety of internal signals. Low energy levels, nutrient deprivation, and certain stressors can trigger the process, while eating or consuming calories can suppress it. Different tissues respond differently. Some organs may increase autophagic activity rapidly under fasting conditions, while others may require longer periods or specific metabolic cues. Olive oil, while rich in monounsaturated fats and polyphenols, interacts with the body in complex ways that are not fully understood in humans. While some lab and animal studies suggest potential modulation of autophagy pathways, these effects cannot be directly equated to doubling autophagy in a single day. The reality is that autophagy is influenced by multiple overlapping signals, and simplistic claims fail to capture the nuance of cellular regulation and metabolic adaptation. The benefits of fasting are largely linked to periods of low caloric intake. during which the body shifts from using external sources of energy to tapping into internal stores. This shift triggers a range of metabolic processes, including enhanced autophagy, improved insulin sensitivity, and increased fat oxidation. Introducing pure fat, such as olive oil, into a fasting period adds calories, which could theoretically alter some of the signals the body relies on to enter these fasting-induced states. The presence of calories from fat may slightly reduce the intensity of the energy stress that typically drives cellular repair mechanisms. At the same time, fat is metabolically different from carbohydrates or protein. Unlike carbs, which rapidly raise blood sugar and insulin, or protein, which stimulates insulin and other growth-related pathways, fat causes only a minimal insulin response. This means that some of the metabolic effects associated with fasting, such as the activation of energy-sensing pathways and fat mobilization, may still continue even if fat is consumed. The overall impact depends on the individual's metabolic goals, the amount of fat ingested, and the duration of the fasting window. For some people, including a small amount of olive oil during a fast may provide energy without completely halting fasting-related benefits, while for others it may reduce the fasting response. The interplay between calorie intake, macronutrient composition, and fasting outcomes is complex and highly individualized. Understanding how fat influences insulin signaling and cellular stress responses is key to determining whether consuming olive oil during fasting aligns with specific health goals, such as improving insulin sensitivity or stimulating autophagy. Olive oil contains several compounds that can positively influence the body's ability to process sugar and respond to insulin. Monounsaturated fats, along with bioactive molecules like polyphenols, contribute to improved insulin signaling by supporting the cellular pathways that regulate glucose uptake. These compounds may help cells respond more efficiently to insulin, which is particularly important for maintaining stable blood sugar levels and reducing the risk of developing insulin resistance. While olive oil alone is not a cure for metabolic disorders, its consistent inclusion in the diet has been associated with modest improvements in insulin sensitivity over time. Beyond its effects on insulin, olive oil is rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. Polyphenols, in particular, help reduce oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, both of which are factors that can impair metabolic function. By lowering cellular stress and inflammation, these compounds create an environment in which insulin signaling and other metabolic processes can function more efficiently. This dual effect, supporting insulin pathways while mitigating inflammation, makes olive oil a valuable dietary component for metabolic health. Fasting itself adds another layer of metabolic support. During periods of calorie restriction, the body shifts to using stored energy and activates pathways that enhance cellular repair, energy utilization, and fat metabolism. Over time, repeated fasting periods can improve metabolic markers, including blood sugar control, cholesterol levels, and insulin sensitivity. When combined with compounds found in olive oil, fasting may create complementary effects, supporting both the cellular and systemic processes that contribute to better metabolic health. The synergy between these two approaches is a focus of ongoing research exploring how diet and fasting together can optimize overall metabolic function. The claim that autophagy can be doubled in a single day through olive oil fasting is a simplification that does not reflect the complexity of human biology. Autophagy is a dynamic and highly regulated process that varies across different cell types, tissues, and individuals. While fasting can trigger autophagy, the extent to which it is activated depends on many factors, including the duration of fasting, the individual's metabolic state, and their overall health. Human studies measuring autophagy directly are limited, making it impossible to quantify such dramatic changes in a short period. Extrapolating results from animal models or laboratory experiments to humans can be misleading because the physiological responses are often different. Olive oil fasting may also produce variable effects depending on the person attempting it. Some individuals may experience benefits from consuming a small amount of olive oil during a fasting period, while others might see stronger responses from traditional water fasting or longer fasting durations. The type of fasting, the timing of intake, and individual metabolic factors all influence how the body responds. What works for one person may not produce the same outcome for another, emphasizing the personalized nature of fasting strategies. It is important to approach extreme fasting methods with caution, particularly for individuals with underlying medical conditions. Consulting a healthcare professional before attempting prolonged fasting or combining fasting with specific dietary components, such as olive oil, is essential for safety. Factors like blood sugar regulation, medication use, and pre-existing metabolic or cardiovascular conditions can influence how fasting affects the body, making professional guidance a critical part of any fasting protocol. Olive oil is more than just a flavorful addition to meals. It contains a variety of compounds that can have meaningful effects on cellular health. Monounsaturated fats, polyphenols, and other bioactive molecules in olive oil may help support insulin sensitivity by influencing how cells respond to glucose. These compounds can modulate inflammation and oxidative stress, creating a cellular environment that is more efficient at managing energy and maintaining healthy metabolic function. By improving the way cells process insulin, olive oil could contribute to more stable blood sugar levels and better overall metabolic regulation. Fasting, on the other hand, activates metabolic pathways that are closely linked to cellular repair and maintenance. When the body experiences periods of low energy intake, it triggers processes such as autophagy, where cells break down damaged components and recycle them into usable energy. These pathways are thought to play a role in slowing cellular aging, improving energy efficiency, and supporting metabolic health. While fasting has been studied extensively in animals, the evidence in humans is still evolving, and researchers are continuing to investigate the optimal conditions, durations, and individual responses that maximize these benefits. The idea that combining olive oil with a single day of fasting could produce dramatic effects, sometimes described as a one-day miracle, is appealing, but it remains largely unproven in rigorous scientific studies. The interplay between dietary fats, fasting, and cellular repair is complex, and human metabolism does not always respond in predictable ways. While olive oil contains compounds that may enhance cellular function and fasting activates beneficial metabolic pathways, the claim that one day of this combination can produce extraordinary results should be viewed cautiously. Individual factors such as metabolism, diet, and overall health also play a significant role in determining the outcomes of fasting and olive oil consumption. To wrap up, while olive oil and fasting both offer promising ways to support cellular health and metabolism, the science shows that results can vary and the one-day miracle claims are not fully proven in humans. Olive oil contains compounds that may help improve insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation, and fasting can trigger pathways like autophagy that help cells repair and recycle themselves. Combining the two may offer benefits, but individual responses depend on many factors, including metabolism, fasting duration, and overall health. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe for more science-based breakdowns on health, fasting, and nutrition. Leave a comment below if you want us to take a deeper dive into fasting science, olive oil metabolism, or other cellular health topics. Your questions could be featured in our next video.